Oh, that I can see you now. Don't let them get you down. They hurt you, but they hurt worse. I can promise you this now.
Live from the City of Angels, it's Thursday night, which means our box office preview show. Love this new track by Noah Neiman. It's called Feel It from Enhanced Progressive. I think it's out tomorrow. So kudos to Noah for this. It's been rocking my workouts lately. All right, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Okay, we've got to talk about the Oscars. We'll do that in a second. Also, Kathleen Kennedy now saying, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to stick around. So, wow, right? Also, why does Warner Brothers have no faith in Mickey 17? And whatever you want to talk about here tonight. Roughly an hour live, as always, Thursday night. Even though it's going to be really slow this weekend, box office is going to be really bad. When you talk about a dead weekend at the multiplex, you're looking at this weekend. We do have the new film tonight we're going to discuss called Last Breath with Woody Harrelson and Simu Liu. Shang-Chi underwater. We'll discuss that in a few minutes, but let's get started here with my big topic tonight. Let me pull the music down, get ready to push me up here on this Thursday. Thanks for being here live, as always, from the City of Angels. You're watching Midnight Movie Talk. Here we go, guys. Oscars are now just 3 days away, and that means that it is time to discuss what film could win Best Picture. Now, right now, you're saying, of course, it's going to be Anora, possibly Conclave. I'm going to make a case here tonight for the wild card, the film that I would love to see win Best Picture. And it's this. Can a complete unknown come out of nowhere, sort of, and win Best Picture? When you talk about the preferential ballot, right, you're looking at listing those 10 nominees in preference. So the number one film for me would be The Substance. On another person's ballot might be Wicked. On another, Complete Unknown. Then somehow, some way, someone has Anora number one. I don't know how, but they do. And they need to seek mental health help soon. But when you look at a preferential ballot, it's set up to benefit the film that is going to be up near the top of that ballot more than the bottom of that ballot, right? The film that's generally liked and sometimes loved. And listen, Bob Dylan is wheelhouse material for the Academy voters, right? He is a legend everywhere, obviously, and here in Hollywood. And the voting members, the vast majority of them, are going to go for a film about Bob Dylan. And you look at Mangold getting director nomination. You're talking about one of the best directors of the year. We called that when we came out of that initial evaluation, right? No one else was talking about it. We're always on point here on MMT. So when you look at the preferential ballot, you can expect a film like Complete Unknown to be up near the top of most ballots. I would argue that it's also a film that the majority of Oscar voters actually watched, as opposed to something like, you guys ready for this? Dune 2. I know a lot of you losing your shit over this. But here's the thing, is that you can't make these people watch the movies, okay? And you look here, this went around yesterday, these anonymous voters saying, I didn't watch Dune 2. And people are like, what? You have one job. Watch all the movies. I watch all the movies. You probably watch all the movies. Why can't you watch all the movies, Oscar voter? That's all you have to do. Just watch 10. Okay? And then performances. But I can even forgive you not watching all the documentaries. I haven't watched all the documentaries this year. Some years I've watched like 3 of the 5. Sometimes I think one year I got to 4 of the 5. International feature, I typically get to all 5. This year I think I've only got 3. Is it 4? I think it's 3. So, listen, but I'm not an Oscar voter. And also, if I didn't watch one of the categories, I'm not going to vote in it because I have some modicum of value in my vote, and I understand that I need to watch the films. I can't just vote randomly, right? Blind vote. Otherwise, I'd vote for something like Anora. I heard Anora's great. Oh my God. And then I'd watch it afterwards, and I'd be like, I'm never going to vote for anything again without watching it. If I voted for Anora for Best Picture, and this is what it is, okay? So when you look at how this is set up, right, Dune 2 wasn't watched by at least one person. Because that's the thing, right? When you talk about these anonymous voters, you're talking about one person, typically. Right? So who, out of the thousands of people now in the Academy that are voting, one person, really? That's what we're talking about? So that's why it's important to remember that this is sensational headlines here, right? No one watched Dune 2. One person. A few people. I mean, you're not going to get everybody to watch everything. It's just asking a lot of these people who, let me defend them a little bit. If you're a working director, actor, you have some time off, maybe you just don't want to watch a movie. I talk to you guys all the time about how I don't always want to watch a movie. There's many times where I just go, I'm not in the mood, right? I was talking to Gone Girl before we started here tonight, and he's like, well, I didn't want to watch a movie. I didn't see Last Breath. Like, I totally understand. The only reason I saw Last Breath today is because it was an hour and a half. But, I understand that. So let's not be too hard. But then again, if you're going to vote, you really should watch all 10. I mean, when we vote for president, don't you at least know who the 2 candidates are? You walk in and go, I don't know who either of these people are. I'm just going to randomly push one of them left. Let's hope, even though we all know that one vote essentially means nothing, okay? Especially in California. It doesn't matter what happens. It's always going to go Democrat. So if you vote Republican, it just doesn't matter. It's just a useless waste of time to even go vote. I mean, truthfully, when I went to vote for president this year, obviously it's, that's the one time. If you're going to go, you're going to vote for president. I voted more for the prop that was we're going to start nailing these shoplifters and people that are doing bad things. We're going to give them harsher penalties because damn right we need that. This town's already falling apart. We can't have a continuation of how things are going. Let's go to a couple questions here. As I continue here, Rob, can you explain why the Brutalist odds have been tanking the last few weeks? I think people are starting to realize, like I discussed in that reaction stream to The Brutalist back here a month, 2 ago now, that it is on the back half of it weaker. I think people really found a way to start attacking that film. The AI situation didn't help, even though, as I've told you over the years, studios have done things that they do not divulge. Go back to Roma, right? I discuss this story often here on the stream. I'll make it short. It's perfect for Oscar season. If you didn't know, the majority of Roma, a lot of the scenes are CGI. There's a real long tracking shot in Roma. Go back and watch it. I know it's not really a rewatch movie, but it's a scene. It's set in Mexico, right? And it's set in, I believe, the 50s, correct? And you're looking at this long tracking shot. And if you watch it, you're like, okay, that's no big deal. But having gone to an Oscars party and running into a guy who's a visual effects artist, he showed me on his phone the before and after of Roma, and I was like, holy shit, there's nothing in the shot, and now everything's in the shot. But guess what? Netflix didn't talk about that. So I think, you talk about Brutalist and the AI thing, the studios don't have to be fully honest. I mean, we all don't love AI, right? I don't want to watch an AI performance of anything. They say, they're coming for all of our jobs. AI can't do what I'm doing. No chance, okay? They can do a different version, but what we do here is very singular, right? And that's why I think we have the coolest channel around. There's nobody who can do what we're doing because we're objective, fair, not biased, and also talented. That's unbeatable. Most people come into the space with an agenda, with I'm going to push the anti-woke, I'm going to push the pro-woke, I'm going to push whatever it is. I don't have an agenda. I'm going to push what's the best film, right? And I'm also very good at divorcing art and artists. I don't have to watch another, let's say Woody Allen has a new film. I'm going to go in and say this is a good film and divorce the Woody Allen off screen versus the director I'm watching. I have that ability. We talk about all the time the ability to extract elements of people that may have been overall bad, but we can extract an element. I talk about Chris Benoit all the time. Those things are possible if you allow yourself to do it and not worry about the repercussions, because I don't really care. But going back to what's happening with The Brutalist, you're looking at these studios all are savaging one another, trying to take down the film that has an opportunity to beat the film you're pushing. So let's say you work for Neon and you're pushing Anora. You want to see that film win, obviously. You want to see A Brutalist go down. You want to see Anora's your film. You want to see a film like Dune 2 go out. You want to just take out all the competition. You want to see Complete Unknown fall off the radar. So if you have an opportunity to find a weakness in your opponent, it's nasty, right? It's savage. You're going to go in there and take advantage of it. I think you go back, you look at a film that we don't, films that are interesting to me are the ones that no one talks about because they're not classics. They're not bad, but they had some things that were really great about them. Ides of March is a film George Clooney directed with Ryan Gosling, and it's a cool political behind the scenes. And one of the things it really shows is how dirty it is behind and how they will do anything to take the opponent out, right? No matter if it's made up. So that film's got some really cool things going on. And you also talk about all the wonderful actors in that film. That's a film that I might even go back and rewatch during any political season, is Ides of March. I think it was out in like 2012. Was it 11, 12, 13, right in that range? A lot of really good films in the early 2010s, by the way, for those of you who weren't really paying attention during that time. But you look at a film like Back to a Complete Unknown. You've got Timothée Chalamet rising in the Best Actor rankings, right? He just won at SAG. That's looking good. Anytime you have an actor winning for a film, that bolsters your film, obviously. I mean, you look at A Whale. The Whale was so bad that nothing was going to help, whether Fraser won or not. I mean, it's one of the worst wins ever, considering that film is garbage, right? The Whale's terrible. So here you have a Complete Unknown that is going to appeal to a wide swath of the Oscar voting body. And then you also have an actor in Chalamet that Hollywood loves, okay? Mangold is a hell of a director, even if I don't love everything. Go back to Dial of Disaster, as it, has been called here. I think that's very fair. The film's bad. And we look forward to what he does with Star Wars. By the way, Kathleen Kennedy in moments, because that's part of the story. But when you look at the films that have a possibility to win this weekend, it's going to come down to Anora, Conclave, Complete Unknown. Those three. I don't even think Brutalist is one of them anymore. It'd be 4 for me. Wicked would be 5. Dune has no chance. I want to talk about this quickly before I get to Mickey 17. Just quickly on Dune 2. People are saying, why did that not really register as hard as the first? The first one won 6 Oscars. Remember, when you are pushing an Oscars movie, you do not want to release it early in the year. Now, listen. We're going to go back and talk about Mickey 17 in a minute, but just quickly on that. Yes, there's been films that have had success, right? You look at a Get Out, Black Panther, EEAAO. Okay, those films were all released early in the year. They did very well at the Oscars. What do they all have in common? They all are a, quote, woke pushing agenda, right? That's just the reality, okay? They all have that element, okay? When you look at a Dune 2, it does not have that. So that's just, I'm sorry, if you guys can't figure this out, I got to spell it out for you. That's part of the reason those films did that, okay? Don't kid yourself and pretend that doesn't matter. Give me a fucking break. But when you look at Dune 2, it was released March 1st, correct, last year. So roughly 1 year ago today. Now we're going and we're turning around with the Oscars 1 year later. You're asking people to drag all that momentum all the way through the year. No, you want to release later. I'll talk about that in relation to Mickey 17. But I'm here to tell you guys that when you look at a film like A Complete Unknown, I will not be shocked the way this award season has gone. Thank you, Steve, for the super chat. Mangold made Logan. Yeah, listen, and Logan, I have a lot of issues with, again, a terrible bad guy, right? You've got Holbrook in there. It's like, what is happening? But that scene, the seizure scene, is some great fucking cinema, okay? No question about it. But when you look here at, these are some of the anonymous ballots, right? Here's Best Picture from just a random, I think this is a director here. Conclave number 1, Complete Unknown number 2, Anora number 3, Brutalist number 4. What did I just tell you guys? I didn't even look here. I literally had this kind of queued up, but I don't look. You guys gotta understand. This is live, okay? I don't do a lot of homework, as you can probably tell. I just shoot. Okay, and if it hopefully it lands. If it doesn't land, I don't care. It's live. I've been cutting some things out and posting them. Check the videos if you want to get like a more concise, quick little take. I'm going to do more of that because I think that's good for the channel. And if you don't want to sit through the entire hour of me babbling on and on and on and listen to a song and all those things that we do. But it is what it is. That's the experience you get here on live MMT for an hour. But you look at those 4 films, that's it. And Wicked's number 5. I didn't even, isn't that funny? I mean, see, I just read the room well. There's one thing that I do better than almost anybody in the space in general. I read the room. I feel things. I was built with an internal, just almost a way to gauge the reality of what's going down. Okay. And the reality is these are the films that are in the mix to win. Okay. Obviously, we know that with the wins at DGA for Anora and at PGA for Anora. Then you look at Conclave over at WGA. I mean, over at Make That BAFTA, and then look at SAG last weekend. So that helps form the picture. But that, again, this is a wild year. I'm telling you, if a Complete Unknown wins on Sunday, first of all, I'm going to have a party here on Sunday night because we'll be celebrating the fact that Anora didn't win. And also, I'm a huge fan of Complete Unknown. It's one of the best, clearly one of the best directed films of the year. I mean, come on. You guys got to see that. It's right there. Okay, next one. Just quickly on these ballots, then we're going to get to Kathleen Kennedy. Number 1, Substance. I already like this writer. Of course, a writer likes Substance, right? As you know, we have our script. It's so good. But look, writers like Substance. It's my favorite of all these films without question. Not just direction and writing. Conclave number 2, Amelia Perez number 3. Okay, before you all lose your shit about Amelia Perez being number 3, I'm here to tell you, and I've talked to multiple people who have now, because I was like one of the few people that defended Amelia Perez, they're like, oh yeah, it's better than Anora. I'm like, of course it is. I know I'm right. You might not like the scene where they're in there going, do you want this part of that? That shit's terrible. But as an overall film, Amelia Perez has way more interesting ideas than Anora. Way more. I'm an idea guy. I want to watch things that stoke my interest, that make me think, that make me go, okay, I can relate to this. Who relates to Anora? Are you a hooker? You a call girl? You a stripper hooker? Okay, then maybe you're related to it. Are you the son of a Russian oligarch? Then what are you relating to? The F-bombs? Walking around looking for the Russian kid with his Instagram feed? Fucking terrible. That movie's so bad. I'm telling you, I hope it wins so I can just make fun of the Academy Sunday. I really can't lose on Sunday because all the people that know I hate Anora will be here going, fuck you. Look, you're an idiot. You didn't. Okay, guess what? I'm not the idiot. You're the idiot that thinks that's good. Guys, I know I'm not going to get angry tonight because my voice is still a little cracky. But I'm here to tell you that Anora, there's no universe in which Anora is a great film. None. It doesn't exist. So you can tell Cannes to shove it up their ass because I can promise you this. That's the most embarrassing win for a Palm ever. If I went through, it doesn't even matter what. Anything, especially with the Substance sitting there. So don't even get me started. By the way, they say here about Anora, I didn't like Anora. Good job, writer. They have it number 7. Publicist, Wicked number 1. I'm still here. Conclave, Substance, Anora number 5. I think it's somewhere here. Someone railed on Anora, and I loved it. See, there's the cough. When I was looking here, it was like, here it is. Hold on, here it is. Give me a second. Let me find the exact line where someone just railed on Anora. It was great. And I was like, thank you. You know, the thing about Anora is this, is that there are those of you who know that this film's bad. And I think you guys, that's the beauty. Even the people that are defending it know that ultimately over time they're going to look like fucking idiots. So go for it. A couple more comments. I can't find the Anora thing. It was someone just railing on it, saying this movie is the male gaze. It's cringy. It's bad. Yeah, it's everything like that. It's. By the way, here. This is listen to what the casting director says about Anora. You guys ready for this? It's a glimpse into a world I don't know. That's good. You don't know what it is like to be a stripper call girl / hooker, and it's mesmerizing. For what? The opening song's great, right? But that's not Sean Baker. He just picked the Take That remix. That's it. It's the only time the film's any good. When that song's on, the film's good. Everything else is garbage. Anora should have been nominated for the Razzies. I know, Jason. Why am I the only guy? Why am I the only guy who knows this? You, me, a couple other people. I don't think there's something wrong with some people. I'm telling you, I've said this before. There's a lot of NPCs out there. No question. A lot of NPCs, people that have very little internal dialogue. And a movie like Anora is going to work for them because it's so fucking dumb. So if you have no internal dialogue and you have an IQ sub 75, sub 50, you're probably going to think Anora is good. I'm sorry if you guys don't. I'm sorry if you like the movie and you want to turn off the stream. I don't give a shit. Movie's fucking terrible. And I'm not going to switch. I don't care if we lose every subscriber. I don't care if I have 0 views. The movie Anora is the biggest embarrassment for the Academy in the history of nominations. And if it wins a single award on Sunday, it will be the biggest joke in the history, the storied long history. And by the way, to Sasha Stone, if you're watching tonight, let me just go ahead and say this to you. The fact that you came in and said, the fact that you didn't understand it doesn't make it bad. I'm sorry. I mean, Anora is so deep. It's very easy to understand why I probably didn't fucking get the fact that it's a movie full of F-bombs and a hooker who marries a fucking Russian kid, and it's them yelling at each other for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and at the end we're supposed to feel sorry for the one-note Anora who all of a sudden climbs on board the bald Russian and fucks him in the car. I understood the movie. It's fucking garbage, Sasha. You're the one who's wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm 100% right. Get on the right side of history. This isn't hard. This is like the fact that you defend that. And by the way, this is the same Sasha Stone. You can unfollow me if you want, Sasha. I don't give a shit. The same Sasha that I believe watched, what was that neon movie a few years ago? Ammonite. I don't know if you guys watched Ammonite. Holy shit, that movie. Ammonite was one of the most boring films, remake of Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And I remember Sasha's take was initially, I just watched a Best Picture winner. I went, oh, holy shit. Listen, Sasha, I love the fact you're fearless, but your movie evaluation skills are only made you're slightly better than Scott Mendelson. But we're talking about the bottom of the barrel when it comes to evaluations, guys. I love Scott, terrible film critic, literally one of the worst. And the fact is, this space is full of them, but do not ever tell me I did not understand Anora. I wanted to destroy the screen. I completely understood it. It's a terrible movie. There's no discussion anymore of that film. Let's get ready for Kathleen Kennedy. Johnny, I saw Anora in the theater for a second time Monday, was struck again how repetitive and lazy. It's Johnny, you understand. It's truly awful. It's not anything short of unwatchable. It's truly bad. Okay, guys, by the way, Kathleen Kennedy's not done. Did you hear this? After everyone buried her, she's done. She's like, oh no, by the way, Deadline reporting here tonight. She's not retiring. She's been looking at an eventual succession plan for a new leader of Lucasfilm. But she's going to wait a little bit. Okay? Let's go directly to the Deadline article because a lot of you are like, no! There's good and bad things with Kathleen Kennedy, right? I know the easy approach is to say everything she touched turned to shit. And I can't argue that some of that's true. But you look at a film... Look no further than Rogue One. Under her leadership, that's one of the best Star Wars films. Do you see the problem is when you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you're saying everything she ever did was the worst. That's not the right way. You have to be nuanced about this. And I go back and you look at a Gore who just said, oh, turning everything into a girl band with Star Wars was the biggest mistake, or everything she touched. Okay, she did that a lot. I'm not going to say she didn't. But if I'm not mistaken, Gore loved The Last Jedi. Go back and look. Go look for it. It's there. What's amazing about someone like Chris Gore is they have the audacity to say Star Wars is the worst and then you go back and look at their reactions like, I love The Last Jedi. Can you imagine being that fucking phony? Can you even imagine? I can't. Do you think I'm going to come on if Anora wins Best Picture on Sunday and say, well, this is a great movie. Oh my God, I was wrong. I was mistaken. It won Best Picture. No, you don't flip-flop. You don't ever flip-flop. It makes you look like an idiot, man. You guys, this space is full. The fact you guys watch people like that is just embarrassing, okay? It is. Sorry. Oh, am I making fun of someone who watches Gore? And Alan, I love Alan Ng. The two, man, when they're on, I swear to God, if I want to fall asleep at night, I would put Film Thread on and I'd fall asleep. That's how boring that fucking channel is. It's some of the most sleep-inducing shit you'll sit through. I'm sorry. Oh, Weber's being mean. I can tell you one thing. The one thing we're not is that. You can not like what you watch. You can say Weber's this. We're not fucking sleep-inducing, that's for sure. Okay? And I'm going by myself. I'm not pausing, waiting for someone else to step in. Kathleen Kennedy is flawed without question, but she hasn't done everything turned to shit. Okay? There are examples of things that work. Not a lot, but there's a few. But people tonight are like, oh my God, she's coming back. Because she's 72 now, right? You don't think she caught wind of that and was like, listen, I'm going to go out on my own terms. I'm not going to let Matthew Baloney say that I'm done. Is it Baloney or is it Poloni? Whatever. I hope it's not Baloney. If my last name was Baloney and pronounced like that, I would totally change it. My last name is Peroni, like the beer. I would just change it. I don't even care. It would just be like, that's it. We're changing it to Peroni. The damage is done whether she leaves or not. You can't get Star Wars fans back to the mentality. You know, it's not just that. Scientific, listen, yeah, there's a lot of people that are pissed off about Star Wars. And I get it. I don't care. I just want to watch a good movie. My life does not revolve around the next MCU movie, the next Star Wars movie, the next, dudes, no. Okay. Yeah, there's been mistakes made. I wouldn't necessarily do everything that was done. But again, for me, these are fucking fictional characters, you guys. I mean, I grew up with Star Wars. Some of these people didn't even grow up with Star Wars. You didn't have the figures in your room that you purchased from Super X Drugs, okay? That's how far back I go, okay? And Children's Palace in Columbus, Ohio. In Lionel's Kitty City. You guys... That sounds really creepy nowadays. Lionel's Kitty City. I go back to collecting that stuff. Star Wars means more to me than 90% of these people who just jumped on board recently. And I don't care because you grow up and you all of a sudden decide you want to collect football kits instead. Something more interesting. Write a script yourself instead of opine about Star Wars for 2 hours. Create an entire channel. Let's dissect this shit. You guys know how I feel about it. I want to talk about the product. I want to talk about, the business side of it. I want to talk about the box office for sure and, what constitutes a great film. That stuff. I don't want to talk about, oh, no, they cast this person and they're black, therefore the movie's bad, like Captain America, Brave New World. Oh, my God. It's so like, you guys understand that's so simple-minded. It's very, very limiting view. And I don't want to be that person. I don't care if we have no view. I don't care if we have no one watching. I will not do that because it's pathetic. Remember, that all feeds on itself, right? So Kathleen Kennedy's a witch. She's the worst thing ever. That's views. Me saying it's nuanced. She did some things that are good. Clearly some things that are bad. Dial disaster. You look at that and then people go, well, that's not, I don't know what to do here because I think she's terrible, but he's saying that maybe some, just like we talk about a Trump, you guys, Trump's the worst. Is he really? How about some of the things? And then some of the things are good, some are bad, right? That's like everybody, okay? Not everything everybody does is good because you love them or hate them. I don't care who it is. You can't be like that. You have to be more fluid in your ability to move, right, within the judgment of the given person and their actions. It's really simple. That would be a terrible name. I would not change my name. I really should have. I said a long time ago, Steve, that if I changed my name, it would be Erick Edwards. Now, for those of you, now I didn't even mean at the time when I said that initially, I didn't realize, for those of you going back to the Seika days, that's a porn star. But I like it, right? It's alliterative. Erick, Edwards, you get the right? I mean, even though it's more assonance, I'm just telling you that there's always something I'm always going to love. Midnight movie, and I'm thinking maybe we just call it Midnight Movie Madness, right? Triple M. Because everyone loves alliteration. But when you look at this channel, we're always going to be more than just, hey, this has to be this or that. We got to look at all the stuff. Let's go back and look at the article real quickly and just get the latest. So here, let's just read an exact quote from her, okay? Kathleen Kennedy, quote, "The truth is, I just want to say loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies." That is the first thing that's important to say. I'm not retiring. In your face, baloney. What's happening at Lucasfilm is I've been talking for quite some time with both Bob and Alan about the eventual succession, what it might look like. We have an amazing bench of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. In other words, I'm going to take my fucking time. I added that. We are in lockstep as to what's going to be next, and I am continuing. I'm producing the Mandalorian movie right now. I'm also producing Sean Levy's Star Wars movie, which is after that. Apparently, it looks like Ryan Gosling might finally be joining a gigantic film, right? I mean, listen, the payday's there. If Gosling wants to make a Star Wars movie, they're going to pay him $50 million. And, Gosling can make all the cool little films he wants. I know he likes doing that. Big fans of Ryan Gosling, but when you get a $50 million payday in a back end, you're going to take that, especially because he's got the girls. So he can be in a Star Wars movie with Daisy Ridley or whoever. No, don't even get me started about Cleaner. Don't do it. But, that's part of the consideration. You've got kids. You want to make a movie that the kids can watch. I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. So that's all underway. We have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it. That's her, man. Listen, remember my Kathleen Kennedy story? When I was at the Black Panther FYC event back in 2018, right? Or was it 17? Whatever year, 18. When I was in the event, Kathleen Kennedy was there. And there was like 45 of us there. It was a really small party. And I'm like, holy shit, Kathleen Kennedy's right there. She's leaving. And I walk up to her as she's leaving. She's in the hallway. She's leaving the bar area at the... what was the name? Where is it? In London. It was at the London in West Hollywood here in Los Angeles. And she's walking down the hallway, and I'm like, Kathleen, hold on real quick. What is the status of the Boba Fett movie? And she turned around. She didn't need to stop. She stopped. She looked at me, and she's like, I thought we made it clear. We're not making the Boba Fett movie. And I was like, I don't think you ever said that, but okay. And she goes, we're focused on the Mandalorian. I go, I don't know what the fuck the Mandalorian is because this is before that. I'm like, okay, great, whatever. Remember, I'm not the Star Wars guy. I just knew I liked Boba Fett. I was a kid that loved Empire Strikes Back. Boba Fett's a cool character. So she says no. I tweet it out, and boom, it turns into an article from THR, Deadline. Everybody runs it as top story. Weber broke it. Okay, that's when I kind of broke it. Because I'm a journalist. I asked her the question, but she is, I can tell you, just from that brief interaction with Kathleen Kennedy, she is no nonsense, man. She is just like, here's the deal, this is the thing. I'd probably get along with her because that's how I operate. If you brought me into the room, I told you guys a million times, we're going to hire this person, and someone in the room would say, listen, we're going to hire DEI. Fuck, excuse me? Hold on, everybody. We're gonna hit pause on this. Did you just say DEI? Because I can promise you this, we're not doing that shit. We're going to hire the best person. Everyone in the room's like, oh my God. We're not going to hire. What do you? No, that's weird. Why are you even saying that? That's fucking weird. We're going to hire the best person. So that's very much the same magic. Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. We said that's it. I don't know what you're talking about. We're not doing DEI. We're going to hire the best person. If they happen to be black, they're black. They happen to be white, they're white. What are we talking about here? That's the difference between me and everybody else. No one else will say that. By the way, that makes me merit-based. How many times have we had this discussion? Bring it. Roll up. You can't even attack that. So I'm going to play the same game. So I think I like Kathleen Kennedy from that one interaction and the way she's saying, I'll go on my own terms, bitches. Let's see. Let's get another one. You're Looking Within gives credence that we're heard a chief executive officer like Dave Filoni is in a good position. I can't say who it is, just an internal process that goes on inside a large corporation and a publicly held company like Disney as to how we go about making deals, finalizing decisions, and making announcements. There's nothing unusual about that, and we're in the process. Let's just be honest with each other, though. Listen, I'm going to give some credence to the whole girl boss thing, right? She's probably looking for a female successor. I mean, right? Oh, wait, Weber, are you the anti-woke guy? Just look at all of the evidence in front of you. She clearly wants to push a female in everything. We can't argue that, right? Okay, even Rogue One is definitely at least a split at the top. But you look at, that's clearly a very motivating, very important, crucial thing for her. So, of course, she's going to look for that. So don't be surprised if it's a female. Okay? But we'll get to that in a minute. I'll go open comments at the end with Memoir of a Snail. I love the movie. Really love the movie. You guys know, I'm always on the right side of history. First of all, before we get to that, I'm going to let you guys come in here. When was I on the wrong side of history? Go for it. Other than Ant-Man 3, it's a stupid movie, doesn't matter. Name a time that Weber was on the wrong side of history. Oh, that's right. It's never happened. All right, before we get into the MMT evaluation of Last Breath, I love doing these things live. By the way, nobody walks the tightrope like we do. Nobody. There's nobody. Do you see another box? Do you see me bringing in someone else? No. I have to go for 1 hour. That's all I've promised you. 1 hour. Even when I had no voice the other night, and tonight I'm close to losing it, I still go for 1 hour. That's a long time. Okay, for me to prattle on and on with no break. I haven't even played a piece of video. That's why I'm waiting for the Last Breath MMT evaluation. It's moments away. But I do want to talk about this. Warner Brothers does not love Mickey 17. How do I know that? Let me walk you through a couple things that are going on here, and this is why I know they don't love the film. Warner Brothers would not drop this film next weekend if they had any inclination that it was an awards film. They wouldn't do it, because if you want to have success in the awards window, in the awards space, you need to be in the awards window, which is typically September on. So you're coming off of Parasite with Bong Joon-ho. You have a chance to have a film that, who cares if it's not an Oscar film? I still am going to release it in September, October, November. Now, the other thing that makes me very leery about this is I looked at the reviews. There's already reviews. They're mixed, but here's the problem they're already seeing. Reviewers now do not review movies. They review the filmography of the director involved. We've seen it happen over and over and over. Look no further than Megalopolis. Look no further than Gladiator 2. Because they came from directors who've given us great works in the past. Therefore, this is great. I will never play that game. It'll never happen, ever, for the remainder of time. Every film that you are watching is only that thing. There is nothing before it, nothing after it. It's only the moment you're in now. If there's one thing I've gotten better at over the past several years since I hit rock bottom back in 2015-16, I have lived for now. I live now much more than I ever did. In other words, I don't even think about yesterday. I don't think about tomorrow. I think about now. That's what makes this stream better than most. Okay, because I'm now. You have 100% of my energy right now. When it's over, it's gone. The energy's off. I know how to turn things on and off. And I'm telling you, when you watch a film, you have to be now. You cannot be in the past. You cannot be in the future. You cannot say, this is from Bong, who just won for Parasite. It doesn't matter. In fact, you need to bury that shit. And what I'm seeing from virtually every review is, this is from Bong. It's a great... No. Yes, that's part of it. You need to say, does it work and how does it relate to the other films? Fine. But you don't say it is from Bong and it's good. It's a real problem we have. A major problem. The big thing that really has me scared about this film debuts next week. There are no fan-first screenings. Warner Brothers have done those for virtually everything. They did it for Elvis. They did it for Joker 2. They did it for Flash. They do it for virtually everything. I think Black Adam had them. Okay? I know that Flash and Joker 2 had them. These are two bombs, right? And Joker 2 clearly went south, But they had that early screening. There are no early screenings for general audiences of Mickey 17. That is because they know the word of mouth is not going to be great. If you know your film is good, you're going to screen it early for people so that they can come out of it and go, this is great. I can't believe it. Look at Complete Unknown, early screening. Look at, well, The Monkey had an early screening. Oh, but obviously Neon's clueless at this point between Anora and The Monkey. That studio's going to hell. I mean, I literally just said Neon's like the best after Handling the Undead, and then the back half of 2024 happened, and I was like, okay, forget what I said. I want to retract all that shit. Right now, and we're about ready to talk about Focus Features in a minute, Focus is probably the most consistent label out there. Searchlight, Focus, they're run by, as you may know, Universal and Disney, used to be Fox. So when you look at their filmography, typically it's strong. There's very rarely a bad Focus Features film. We're going to talk about Last Breath in a minute. It's another solid one. Okay. But when you look at Mickey 17, all the signs are there. This film is not going to work. It's not going to be great. And the other thing that I'm really scared about this film, whenever I watch the trailer, it's Mark fucking Ruffalo. Ruffalo is so Razzie, oh my God! In Poor Things, it's one of the most embarrassing performances I've ever seen. It's a caricature again, right? And it's so him yelling out. It's so bad. I just was like, you know, we talk cringy. It is so fucking cringy, and it looks like he's doing another version of that. I'll tell you, Ruffalo, you got to get back to doing things like Collateral and The Kids Are All Right, whatever the fuck that woman's, right? We talked about the other night. He's got to go back to that stuff. Go back to a Foxcatcher. You can't be doing this stuff. I haven't seen it yet. I'll let you know, but I can promise you right now, the chances after watching the trailer of me not coming out next Thursday on the live evaluation of Mickey 17 and saying Mark Ruffalo thumbs down is very high that we're going to have that happen. The chances it's not going to happen very low. It's just, I'm telling you, this looks like a film that has some things that are interesting about it, but wasn't fully there. I'll find out. I'm not going to trust you guys. How many critics do I trust? Let me help you. The number's 0. It's quite literally 0. There's nobody in the space who has proven time and time again to be dead on, non-biased, and non-agenda filled. Every single one. I don't care who you think is good. They have an agenda. I don't have an agenda. That's the win. That's the win right there. And also, I'm good. Why? When we're talking about Last Breath, okay, no one's better because they don't have all of the tools. It's like, go back to Moneyball. They talk about a 5-tool player, right? Hits for powers, throws, catches, and whatever the other one is. There's 5 tools that the scouts are looking for. I am a 5-tool film critic. Most film critics are 1 or 2 tool, okay? In other words, they'd never make it to the major leagues. I'm a 5-tool film critic. And the reason I am is because I've practiced, I know my shit, and most importantly, I get out of the way of everything going into it and allow myself to completely be enveloped in the moment. And most people have no ability to do that, or they're NPCs, and then they're totally fucked, okay? When you want to keep a film for release later in the year, September, November, you want to consider it for awards recognition. That way you can really, exactly, you understand. Because listen, people were saying today when I put that out about Mickey 17, that you really are in trouble when you release early in the year. And the film that I'm going to point to is Rocket Man. You look at Rocket Man. It was out in May, right? June, mid-late May, right? It was around Memorial Day, okay? Rocket Man's a very good film. Rocket Man would have been a much stronger awards film than just a win for song if it had dropped in October or November. But they brought it out early because it was right after the Mercury movie, right? It was right after that, Bohemian Rhapsody. So they wanted to capitalize on the same idea with Elton John. The problem is it didn't do that well at the box office, and then it didn't do well at awards. Paramount, because I was there, I went to a bunch of parties that year. That was the year, 2019. I went to everything. I know that award season better than anybody. I don't care who it is. I know it better than them. And I can tell you right now, Paramount had countless FYC events for Rocket Man. The problem was is that Rocket Man came out too early in the year, and they tried to bring it back in award season. People were like, I'm on to the next thing. Recency bias, and that's why if you have a film that's great, you're not going to risk it. Even if you think you can pull it off, you're not going to risk it. You're going to hold it till award season because Oscars are money. And you want the nominations and you want the wins, and you look at Dune when it came out in October, or is it November of that year, 6 wins. This time around, is it even going to get 1? Sound, right? It's that bad because it was too early in the year. And this is a bad year. 2024 was bad. So if you bring out Dune 2 in November, you're talking about a very possible Best Picture winner. I'm telling you, it's that important. So do not doubt me. I know what I'm talking about. And Mickey 17, I'm going to be very fair to, but I will be very surprised if I come in here and tell you it's a great film next week. I will be shocked. I will be the first one to say it because I will be. That's the beauty. I can tell you that Warner Brothers has no faith, that the film doesn't look good, that Ruffalo looks like trash, and I'm going to come out of it and say it's good. I've done it a million times. I'll do it a million times more. I do not play the, oh, well, therefore it's bad because I already said it's bad. I have the ability to maneuver if the right? I can have my pre-thoughts and then have the actual thoughts. I need a break from talking, so I'm going to play you a clip here. It is time for the MMT evaluation of Last Breath. This is Woody Harrelson, and it is Simu Liu. They are here in a submerged thriller, a survival. Go back and you look at like the early 2010s, you had all those survival films that were popular at the box office. I don't think this is going to play well at the box office, but I'm going to tell you this. The film is pretty solid. I liked a lot of it. Let me tell you why, but I'm first going to show you a scene from Last Breath as they are trying to get off the ocean floor and running out of air. This is Last Breath from Focus Features. MMT evaluation is now. Very happy with the runtime here tonight. But, you know, it's just the kind of film that Focus produces. They're very reliable. Right? There's no label that's more reliable to me than Focus Features. Not A24, not Neon, you know, a Searchlight, and then, like I said earlier, and now the Focus Features. When you look at the indie film, the smaller, kind of more interesting things, you're looking at a Focus, and they don't disappoint. I go back, I look at a film like a Brian and Charles, which I'm sure a lot of you don't even know what I'm talking about. It was out a few years ago. It was about an inventor and his robot that he created and his relationship with the robot and his girlfriend that he kind of meets through the robot. It's a weird, quirky kind of film, but it works, and it's another one of these Focus films that kind of just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, I like that film. That's like Last Breath. I mean, listen, you're not going to be blown away by anything you watch in this. You've seen a lot of this film before, okay? It's kind of like Kristen Stewart's Underwater without the monster. But remember that one? But this film is not going to disappoint you. Right? If you buy a ticket to see this, you're going to come out of it and say, hey, listen, I enjoyed my 92 minutes in the theater, which is very important because most of the times I don't enjoy my 2 hours and 15 minutes in the theater. Look at Anora. I like Simu Liu. I like Woody Harrelson. Obviously, Woody Harrelson, you put him in anything, he's going to be strong. You've got a nice supporting cast here. And overall, this film just delivers what you want out of it. You know, listen, initially I was like, do I really want to watch We're Running Out of Air at the Bottom of the Ocean film that we've seen a million times before? It's based on a true story. It has that going for it. I think you're not going to believe how it ends when you see exactly how the whole thing unfolded, because it is, again, true story. But it's still going to hold you captive and interested, engaged enough with what's happening so that you, even if you kind of can guess what's going to happen, you're still going to be dialed in for the vast runtime here, which is the vast majority of the runtime, which is, again, only 92 minutes. I like the score, too. I know this is very nerdy. This is what we do here, but so often we talk about films that have bad scores. I think this score is pretty much on the money. It's pretty much throughout the entire film, but it doesn't weigh the film down. If anything, it gives it a little buoyancy, especially early on. These are things that I really pay attention to, so I like that score. Good composition. Overall, this is an 88%. B+. I mean, overall, for March, the only major film that's out right now this weekend that's new, it's Last Breath. I highly recommend it, especially for families. This is the kind of film you're going to take your kids to, and you're not going to have anything objectionable happen. There's a little of a love story, which is kind of nice. And all these things kind of work, that it's very wholesome and it has heart. And I think that's the other thing that I want to talk about with Focus. And I was talking to, of all people, my mother on the way home. And I was saying, out of nowhere, I said, the one thing that kind of hits me about Focus is their films have humanity. Their films have heart. And I think that's got to speak to the higher-ups. Because if you are somebody, and I talk about this all the time, I feel like I'm a light person, right? A person of light. I'm not a dark person. Yes, I want to destroy Anora, but overall, I am a human champion person. I don't want to watch a movie like Terrifier that is anti-humanity. It just is, right? It takes glee in brutality and torture. I would never make that film. I want to make a film that has at its core a soul and profuse with humanity. And that is what Focus delivers time in and time out. I mean, the only time they really kind of miss is when you get a film from Eggers. I mean, Eggers is not really that full of humanity. I mean, that's his problem. They're very emotionally sterile films. But overall, Focus is going to give you a film that is going to deliver a soul and a humanity, and look no further than Tar. I mean, good Lord. As much as you might hate Lydia Tar, if that's not a 5-dimensional portrait of a human being, then what is? One of the best films maybe ever. I mean, literally, I keep going back to over the past since 2000. Tar is a fucking masterpiece at every level. It has no Oscars. So whatever happens on Sunday, remember that. It doesn't matter. When a film like Tar has 0 Oscars, none of it matters. It's that simple. It really is. It really is. A good director and editor knows not to overstay their welcome. Richard, great point. When you talk about a runtime on this, if it were like 145, 150, 155, the film wouldn't be as good. Because it's out at 132 or whatever. I don't even know if it's 130 with the credits. It's really tight. That is huge because you don't overstay your welcome, right? Exactly correct. And so often directors do not adhere to this rule. They punish you with the runtime. And if they would have curtailed their inclination to make it overlong, they would have a better film. Look no further than Everything Everywhere. That's a film that if you bring it in at 145, I like it a lot. At 215, 220, that back 30 is punishing, and that brings it down, right? The law of diminishing returns. Now I don't like your film, okay? Even Anora at 130, I'm going to think it's a better film. At 220, there's no reason Anora should be 220, except that Sean Baker wanted to glaze himself. That's the only reason. And he wanted to watch more sex scenes with Mikey and the Russian kid. He wanted to film more of those and put them in. Here they are bonking, playing a game. Bonking, by the way. Thank you so much. When you look at that, you've got to be very disciplined in your runtime. And I can promise you this, the script we wrote comes in at like 140 on the page, and I have no problem with tightening it up. We didn't write at 220. I can promise you that. You have to be able to crumple, compact, and make it just streamlined, and that's what this film does very well. So again, thank you, Solly. You just called it a dad movie. No, exactly. You're not going to be blown away by this movie, but you're also going to leave and go, hey, man, I had no problem watching this. It's going to get a pretty solid cinema score. I bet you it gets an A because it has so much going for it. Woody Harrelson is not in that. He's in the film, but it's not as much as I maybe would have liked. I like Champions. I love Woody Harrelson in Champions. I think Champions is fun. Another Focus Features, right, with the Down syndrome basketball team. Wow, I really like that film. It's got such a talk about heart. Okay, look, I'm proving myself right. I didn't even go through all the Focus. Every Focus Features film has humanity strapped to it. Okay, A24 does not. A24 has weirdness strapped to it. Neon has God knows what now, good marketing strapped to it, but it doesn't have humanity. Remember when we watched Grace Randolph the other night when she was talking about how the monkey is the most human emotioned horror film she's ever seen? I was like, oh, what? I mean, you don't understand. When you miss that bad, like you don't even miss the target. Like what were you even aiming for? Holy shit, you missed everything with that, Grace. I have never missed everything. I have missed by Ant-Man 3 standards. And I didn't even miss by that. Remember, I tell you guys this to remind you, Empire Magazine, who's the big film thing, they gave Ant-Man 3 4 out of 5 stars. So don't give me shit about that. If Empire Magazine's giving Ant-Man 3 4 out of 5 stars, don't come after me. Okay, I'm not the one recommending Anora. That's unforgivable. Like your boy, the awards whisperer, that Brian Rowe. You talk about the most boring human being in the history of any space. That guy is the definition of milquetoast. He should rename his channel the Milquetoast Awards channel. It's that boring. And Anora is my favorite movie. You instantly are telling the world you have no taste. But go for it, dude. You just continually bore everybody with every take that is so generic and so forgettable. That's the problem. When you try to appease everybody, you end up meaning nothing to anybody. So I'm sorry. I don't care about that. I'd rather have people go, I hate Weber for hating Anora. Too bad. It's terrible. Open comment time. We're at 4. I have 4 minutes of open comments. That's it. I'm tired. My voice is dead. I'm going to add the open comment. Hold on for a second. Let me add because we have to make this official when I do this. It's the comment blast closeout, everybody. This is where you come in with your comment, Gone Girl pops it up, and I react to it. Grace Randolph's reviews are train wrecks, 100%. In fact, remember, she's our original schizo critic. Do I still have it? I don't think I have I didn't save it. When we gave out the Schizo Critic Award, it was Grace Randolph because occasionally she gets it right, but the majority of times she's so off that you're like, how does this person even have a channel? That's how bad she is. We have never missed like that. Never in the history. Ant-Man 3, screw you, not a miss. Other comments here. Trailer reaction, Blake's, let's do it. I haven't watched it. I'll do it because, you know what? Let's save that for Sunday because here's the deal. I'm going to save the Blake Lively trailer for Sunday because we've got the Oscars, and then I'll be bored of talking about the Oscars and say, let's watch a trailer. I'm almost done. I don't want to restart the show because I want to talk about A Simple Favor, which again, remember, I didn't see the first one. A Simple Favor is she asks her friend to sleep with her husband. It's something like that, right? It's something that's really sordid. That's what I thought, and it turns out it wasn't. It was something very innocuous, and I'm like, well, then why do I care? I want to watch something that Adriana Chechik could be in. Weber and Randolph. Listen, I couldn't even. I would storm off the set. If I was on a Siskel and Ebert show with Grace Randolph, it would last about 5 seconds and I would leave. I'd be like, did you just say that? I'm out of here. Where did Weber go? It's like he's gone. Remember back to that Simpsons episode where Krusty's recording his voice for the doll and he's done. He does the lines and he gets in the limo and the guy's like, we're ready. That'd be like me. Where did Weber go? We're rolling here. Grace said that The Monkey was the most humanity-laden horror film she's ever seen. Well, I can understand why he left because that's totally bad. She's the worst. No, I mean, listen, I always say this about Grace Randolph. She has an audience. She has almost 1 million subscribers, a lot more than we have. But that doesn't make her better. That just makes her, she was an early adopter. If I had started doing this back in 2009 instead of doing local news, I would have 5 billion subscribers, at least 5 billion. So it's not my fault that I'm late to the game. It's just what it is, man. I can't control that shit. I just have to live with it and know that Grace Randolph is bad, okay? More comments here on the comments blast. I want to hear the song one more time. For those of you who haven't heard it, I like this song a lot. Anytime I get a song that I really like, I'm going to play it at the end of the thing. Gone Girl's fallen asleep. He's not even hitting comments. That means I've got to do it. Here's the song again tonight. I'll play it for you guys. It's by Noah Neiman. It's called Feel It. This is my, by the way, this is my kind of, oh, we got to do Gene Hackman. Thank you, real quick. My God, this is what happens when I completely forgot to talk about Gene Hackman. We're going to restart the show. It's going to be very short. Not that we need to be short with Gene Hackman. Incredibly sad, 95 years old. I think the thing about Gene Hackman, when you talk about remembering Gene Hackman, the fact that we haven't seen him in a movie since 2004, okay? It's been 20 years. So you forget about the talents and the impact that he had. You go back into, when I was a kid watching Superman. We're going to watch Hoosiers. I'm going to play a clip because Hoosiers is great. When you look at all of the films that he was Royal Tenenbaums, one of the last films he did, he's such a versatile actor, right? He could be a lead, he could be supporting, he could be character. He had that ability to kind of shapeshift in between roles. And when you look at Gene Hackman in the story of him being 95, passes away with his wife, who was, I think, only 65, and they think it might be carbon monoxide, natural gas, something weird. I mean, he's 95. 95. That's really old, obviously, guys. But the fact that both of them died, I was thinking back to this film. It was from like 2010, 12, somewhere in that range. It was about an older couple where one of them died and then the other one kills themselves to join them. Or is something, God, it's like in the very back of my mind. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but you can understand a couple who spent every waking moment of their lives together. When one passes on, the ability for you to continue living may not exist anymore. Listen, this is all hypothetical. We do not know. But we do know this. Gene Hackman, one of the greatest actors that we've ever seen. And I would argue here tonight, as we get ready to watch the Hoosier scene, that one of the most versatile actors. And if you ask me, like, what would you, if you were an actor, Weber, what would you want to be? I would want to be versatile. I would want to be able to move in and out of roles and have a long career as, like a Tracy Letts, right? Not a huge star, but able to be in all kinds of different things and kind of pop in and really enhance the film. And that's what Gene Hackman did. In addition to, obviously, the very big things, he would bring little touches to films because of his mere presence. One of the greats, dead today at the age of 95. Also, Michelle Trachtenberg, 39. No age to move on. No age whatsoever. And really sad, obviously. We've had so many people die way too early. It's alarming. Let me just say that. It's just alarming. But let's watch Hoosiers, and then we'll get ready to go here. This is as he's giving the pep talk to the team. And, wow, what a film, right? Gene Hackman dead at the age of 95.
There's a tradition in tournament play to not talk about the next step until you've climbed the one in front of you. I'm sure going to the state finals is beyond your wildest dreams, so let's just keep it right there. Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners. Okay?
We'll leave it there. Gene Hackman, rest in peace. We'll see you back here Sunday night for the Oscars post-game show. Thanks for being here on MMT. The stream is over.